we thank all of you tuning into tonight's program here on the Lime Time Podcast Network. Before we officially begin, we pay honor, respect, and salute the greatest nation in the world as we play our national anthem.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight for that ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free? And the home of the brave.
Hey now, what's going on, everybody? It's your new Thursday night ritual for about the past few weeks or so now, and we are here live on the Lime Time Podcast Network. Welcome to episode number 8 of the Falls Count Everywhere podcast. Thank you, everybody. Well, never mind that picture there. I guess there's another technical difficulty here. Hey, let's just do this instead. All right. Once again, we thank everybody for coming up and watching here. We're going to get some more on the feed here tonight. A very big night here on the podcast. I am Rough Cut Rick Ruby, and I'm your MC and co-host for tonight's podcast. And joining me is the other co-host, and who knows where he's at, but I think it's kind of sad that this guy likes to brag that he can outrun a turtle. It's Mr. GQ Matthew Wayne Schuyler III, sitting there comfortably in a I don't know if you're laying on a lazy Susan. I don't know what you're laying on, sir, but hey, welcome.
It's a recliner. I mean, it's a sofa. I mean, you don't have those where you come from. I mean, is that a little too much for your standard or what? I mean, I'm just saying.
I'm pretty. I got a electronic sectional. I've got it made in my crib. I make sure I'm taken care of. So make sure all my guests are taken care of too. Whenever they decide to come over and visit the LTX castle.
You ain't got friends. Somebody wants to visit you.
Who says I need friends? I got family. Friends sometimes get on my nerves, but who doesn't? Family does too, right? Oh man.
Yep.
Yeah, but hey, big night ahead of us, man. Check it out. We are moments away, probably less than 20 minutes away from Bill Alfonso, ECW Original, that will be joining us here in this on the lines here tonight, and looking forward to that. And that will come, like you said, in about 20 minutes or so, talking with Bill Alfonso, and just kind of getting his intake on his entire career, his first 16 plus years as a referee. And so it's going to be pretty cool getting Bill Alfonso in here. So we're going to talk a little bit here tonight, the little opening segment. And as far as, the show's concerned, I mean, we can easily talk about WWE stuff, but, Extreme Rules is this Sunday. Watch it if you can. I don't know what's so extreme about it, but, well, it's Extreme Rules. It's another studio-produced pay-per-view, and it's, they got to make it exciting. Hopefully they do. Let's kind of talk a little bit about the dark side of the ring, and the episode 2. And I'll tell you what, it was probably, I don't know, in my opinion, GQ, season 2 was just about intriguing to me as season 1. I don't know if it was better or if it was worse, but definitely some interesting stories to know about with some of these guys that are in the business. So,
well, it was definitely good to hear, like, the all the years later with Martha Hart and everything, and her basically answered the question, why isn't he in the Hall of Fame, for one? And that was one of the big things that they answered. It's like she don't feel like she wants him a part of what basically ended up killing him. And she's not faulting WWE or Vince for that anymore, but just not a big fan of the business. I mean, so that answered a whole hell of a lot of stuff just for fans alone on that.
Yeah, I would have to say that Owen probably was the best one, and the only reason why is because Owen Hart was just one of my favorites because of the way he conducted himself and how he was a family man. And I mean, he sold pretty good as a face when he first came in, and then of course he really he really nailed it as a heel, and it was pretty cool to see Owen Hart there, and so now that we're talking about here, as far as like we've seen, with episode 1 and season 1 and season 2, which by the way, taking care of some of the studios today, came across this book. I don't know if you're looking here, you'll probably see it here in about 10 seconds or so. But a good guy who was graphing got this for me. This is a pretty good book. This is the Brody book. This was actually, I believe it was written by the late great Larry Matisick, and of course Bruiser Brody's wife, Barbara Goodish. And today marks the.
I was going to say, I actually have a copy of that signed by Barbara and Larry both. Yeah. And that is a really good book. I mean, I would put that right up there along with the Wrestling of the Chase book. The Wrestling of the Chase book definitely made me cry every time because of how people got paid, and it was worked on a handshake thing and everything. But Brody will show you a lot more of the worst side of it, though, too, but will also make you cry for other reasons and everything. So
yeah. And today marks the 32nd anniversary of the tragedy in Puerto Rico for Brody, and definitely a somber day. And I remember meeting Brody whenever he actually came in town, and he fought Abdullah the Butcher, and literally that match took place like up the road and just to the left. It was at a middle school back in March, like 4 years prior in March, and they really tore the place down. And Al Stevens
was this the infamous? I gotta say this. Was this the infamous one where somebody tried to record it and they decided to destroy the camera because they said no recording?
It possibly could be. All I know is that there's a certain manager, Midwest Independent Wrestling Hall of Famer Al Stevens, was actually Abdullah's manager that night. And Brody
and rented a tuxedo.
Yeah, he rented a tuxedo, and Brody tore the hell out of it. and as far as I know, I believe that the PA system got knocked over too, and they actually went up in the bleachers. And this was at a middle school, man. So these guys tore it up, and they must have gotten.
Well, with what I heard from Larry back in the day, the promoter who ran that show, which we won't name him, had booked it and was told not to record it, and he still had a camera setting up, and that's why they went into the bleachers in the area to destroy the camera.
Wow. Okay.
Among other things, apparently, like a rented tuxedo, a lot of walls and stuff, but still, I mean,
wow.
A lot of blood, some sweat, not many tears, maybe of laughter, and sometimes after the show, but.
Yeah, no, it was pretty bad. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I got to address this here real quick. Aaron Wallace is in the room, and he said, I wonder if Bill Alfonso's ever heard of Travis Cook. Well, unless if Travis
If
Cook
you haven't
was
heard of
working
Travis
with him.
Cook, why are you around? Because Travis is one of the best in the business. I'll be the first to say it, and I'll be the last to say it.
Yeah, and that'd be great if we can, like I said, we're going to start getting some more of the regional guys here. I mean, we're going to go, from, around here, then maybe a different region that's more notable, and then we'll try and see if we can, get maybe another national name or two. But I mean, we're real excited to hear tonight to talk with Bill and get his insights on his time in the business and so forth. But going back to the dark side of the ring, okay. If there were to have a season 3, and I'm going to throw this question at you here first, GQ, what wrestler would you think would be a good story to be included in episode 3 in Dark Side of the Ring if they did bring that back?
Well, a couple of ones I just pulled randomly just now when I was looking up some stuff and everything. Buck Zumhoff and Hardbody Harrison would be 2. Just to show the seedy side, even more so of the business. They touched on it a lot during the Moolah one, but I mean, especially with a lot of the speaking out movement now, a lot of stuff needs to be brought forward, and hopefully maybe more people will come out on stuff that has happened to them or whatever. But I know Eddie, besides them two, Eddie Guerrero would be another one, definitely.
Yeah, Eddie Guerrero would definitely be one, and I know that he was featured along with Benoit, because this was more Benoit's, because what Eddie passing before Benoit did, and that really affected Benoit in his last couple of years of his existence, and that kind of took a turn for the worse. But Eddie did have a good fight, himself, because he had to battle drugs, he had to battle addiction, he had to battle he had family issues here too, and I mean, I'm sure some people want to know about it, with Eddie, and
especially how he turned everything around, and all of a sudden, bam, with the heart failure on that. I mean, so I definitely think that Eddie would definitely be a great one, especially with the history that he had and everything as well. I mean,
Eddie would be top notch for that. I'm going to go with another one, and I don't know if he's been talked much on Dark Side of the Ring in general, just on outside conversation, but what I'm going to go with is Brian Pillman. Brian Pillman, of course, he started out real hot, and coming into the end of just on the later stages of NWA, going to WCW, one of their notable light heavyweight champions, and he was like very agile, and he really brought the aerial technical moveset, to WCW before they start, along with, the Japanese wrestlers, and then eventually leading into the Lucha Libre coming in. But, but Brian had to deal with drug addiction himself because, he was in a automobile accident that had to fuse his ankle. And you talk about a guy that had to deal with a lot, Brian Pillman, gone at a very young age of 35. And I know you were at Bad Blood in your house. He was supposed to wrestle Goldust that night, and he was up in, I think, in Minneapolis the night before, and they had discovered him in his hotel room on that morning of the pay-per-view. And
the info did not get down to fans. It didn't get to like indie guys that knew a lot of stuff.
Nope.
It just was kept really quiet up until when people got home later on and then found that out. It was like, what the hell?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I know. So, so it's kind of a shame, with Brian being gone so soon. And, but I think he would be a good story, and it'd be kind of interesting to see who else would be a great story to be on Dark Side of the Ring. Hopefully, Vice does bring it back for season 3, or somebody does. But it's very intriguing. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of dirt digging, but it's stuff that you didn't know about, because some people have to understand what some of these guys go through to bring everybody's entertainment value to them, to give them their escape from reality. They kind of need to know that, they sacrifice quite a bit in order to, to do what they had to do, and some are gone tragically at a very young age. And
I'm gonna throw it out there. I'm gonna be the one to say it. I really want to see them try to do one on Future. For those who don't know Future, he was somebody from the local area that made it to WWE in developmental and went through a lot of harassment there to begin with. I'm not saying that's an excuse by no means whatsoever, but he was belittled. He was tortured while he was on the shelf for being injured because he was injured for too long, according to a lot. And a lot of people will blame Demott for that to begin with, though, too. And that's when he snapped later on. He had drinking problems, and then somebody in the Brotherhood actually broke the trust of the post that was put into a workers-only board. It wasn't on his Facebook page. It was in a private group. So somebody in that group from the Brotherhood had put out there this post when he was doing a cry for help through the boys.
Yeah.
Whether it was because of jealousy or not, and that even pushed him even more so and everything. And I'm not saying that's the thing. We all know the ultimate ending, what happened with that. So it'd be good to maybe fill in some of the blanks in between and everything, too. That way so people don't know, so can figure out some of the stuff on their own and everything,
Yeah. Well, like I said, it's, some things need to be, especially with how some things were, we've heard stories about, ex-developmental trainers, and I'm not going to get into any names right now because, we can go on forever with that. But, it is what it is. So, but we're going to, actually, sorry about that. I meant to put it over on the other side. We're going to go to a different question here. So, other than, where we talked about Dark Side of the Ring, there's been other wrestler related reality shows that have surfaced, and if you had a reality show to either create or bring back starring professional wrestlers, what would it be? And I'm going to go ahead and start this one off. And if we had to bring one back, I'm going to say if we bring one back, I don't want to start a new one. I'm going to bring one back. And what I would want to bring back is a second season of Legends House. And some of these guys that are in this picture now, 3 of the 8 that are in here now are no longer with us, with Howard Finkel, Mean Gene Okerlund, and of course Roddy Piper. Jimmy Hart would be great to have back, and I'm going to go a step further, and I'll do just another part of this addition here. If we had to bring somebody in to be in the house, I would actually like to see Terry Funk in there because Funk has got a lot of experience with a lot of the other guys that have been in the business. So that's who I would want to invite back in Legends House. If there's anybody that you could invite, GQ, who would you invite in there?
So if you're going to do like Funk and everything, why not former world champions that are still living and do like Funk, Ric Flair? Imagine those two left in the house by themselves and all that. What kind of show that's going to end up being there? Yeah. I mean, there's just so many others and all that. Even look at just like whether it's Hall of Famers or whatnot, though too. I mean, there's a lot of them still out there that they could bring back for this. I mean, it has to be the right chemistry though too. That one had good chemistry, but also it was volatile at the same time too.
Yeah. Yeah, true. Very true. And
how about put Jim Cornette in a house like that?
Oh, as of right now, I would not, but but it would be interesting. Championship edition. I like that. Former world champions or big time champions in there. So yeah, I like that. So who would you want to put in there, GQ? What show would you like to have as a reality show with wrestlers?
Well, I actually had two different things. So one would be from like, have they been doing like the 24/7 with the WWE Network? Something to where somebody got signed from indie, where they were being watched a little bit, signed, and then the process going through everything, how it is. They can go for a year or so with this show before you even put them on the main roster. And that would actually be, I think, a decent one or two. Plus, I know they do this with the WWE Network, but why not do it with more indies and legends and road trips?
Yeah, that would be pretty good.
Put wrestlers in a car together and see what the hell you're going to find out.
Right, and not like this ride along stuff that they've been doing. Let's go more in depth than just the ride. But that'd totally break, what's going on, and I don't think that'd be great, to put out there because some things need to be left unsaid or unseen, because being a mystique of a wrestler. But I wouldn't go that far. I mean, WWE's almost done it with their programming, but not too far in that.
Can you imagine though the road trips that you've had and I've had, if we just had a camera recording that alone? The interesting stories that would have came out of that alone,
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean that's interesting here too. From indies to indie stars and making their way through NXT. That would be a pretty interesting one as well. And yeah, I definitely would watch something like that because I would love to see their journey and see maybe what they did different that I didn't.
Well, like the picture you have up there right now, see if I could actually point at the right person right there.
Yep.
The picture's still there.
Yep.
Santana. I mean, I remember seeing her when she started locally with her father, the great Kenny Garrett, and everything for when she started doing that stuff, or just for his shows, branching out more and more, and then she got the deal with Impact for a short while as one of Orlando Jordan's valets.
Yeah.
And I forgot the name that she used in. And then going back on the indies and everything like that, like even seeing her, 2 years ago being inducted in one of the, or given an award at one of the cauliflowers 2 years ago. And then now getting signed to developmental.
Yeah.
And been doing ever since. I mean, you see her on TV every once in a while too. So, I mean, they're doing great with her, and let her still be Santana Garrett. So that's even better on that. Like I've said before, if you're watching it and you know the people from the indies, you'll get more indie fans coming in and watching your product in WWE than you would trying to cater to the WWE fans, which we know that WWE fans, wrestling fans,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, true. Very true. Well, yeah, definitely definitely an intriguing definitely some intriguing topics that we had here at the beginning of the show. So what we're going to do is we're going to break for the moment. And Bill Alfonso should be contacting us here within the next couple of minutes or so. We want to get things set up and then bring him on as our future guest of the evening. So, with that being said, we are going to take a break, and we will be right back right after this, guys. Hang in there. We'll be right back. right, guys. Just to let you know, we are still waiting for Bill Alfonso. He is coming. But give us about another couple minutes or so, and we will be right back. All right, guys, we are back here. I guess we are waiting still for Bill Alfonso to go on here, to come on here. I want to make sure that he was still available. So hopefully we will get Bill Alfonso here very quickly, and because Mr. Alfonso is over in the East Coast. He's in the state of Florida. So hopefully he'll be joining us here shortly. So I'm highly hoping he shows up.
He's professional, he will. I mean, he's just waiting for the right intro.
Right.
You know how all of us are in intros. So.
Oh yeah. I mean, I can play his music, or at least the promotion we're most noted for. So we're still waiting for Bill Alfonso here. He should be calling in. I messaged him,
And if we have any issues with Lane Blog Talk Radio again.
Well, it's not Blog Talk. It's a live show, and yeah. So, I'll tell you what. I guess I usually don't like to go with a plan B, but here's the thing: what is a plan B? And what do we do?
Well, actually, I'll bring this up real quick. We can go back to, we talk about reality shows and Dark Side of the Ring.
Yeah.
Let's combine the answers of one to make a one for the other. And we were talking about like from indie to NXT, and then we're also talking about stuff with Future and everything. Why not look at some of the horrible training stuff of training facilities, training people, and people that were out there that training that don't get a good rap whatsoever?
Yeah. True.
Because we know, and I'll be the one to say it, and I know Bill Talley agree with me and all that. We've heard so much crap about Bill DeMott, it's not even funny.
Yeah. Well, he at least no longer has a job with the big time corporation, so I guess that was coming. So
Now everything with Albert and also with Adam Pearce, Ace Steel, and all them, Norman Smiley, they got a great place right now down there in NXT that's really worth it to the people in the long run. But I have to be worried about fear or having somebody place a gun in the ring because you're not doing it right and they can think you're going to shoot you.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, I mean, it's well, I'll tell you what though. We're mid-July now. We're in dead heat of summer, and there is actually going to be a. All right. Let me see if I can do this here. Okay, hold on one second. I think it's calling into my line. Hold on.
Okay.
Lord. All right, GQ.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, Daddy Fonzy.
Hey, Fonz, what's going on, bud?
All good, my man. All good.
All good.
Been down here in Tampa Bay, baby.
Yeah, brother. I'll tell you what.
Okay.
I'm trying to, because you called into my personal line, and I got to get you into the conference, my friend. I'm having trouble merging my calls. That's why I had a conference number set up. My Sprint's kind of like the worst carrier in the world to me right now. So I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, all good, but whatever we got to do, I'm your guy. Don't worry.
Yeah. If you got that number I sent you, if you can hang up and call that number.
That's the number I just called.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I just called 314-452.
No, that's mine, brother. That's mine.
Okay, give me a number. I'll call it.
Let's see. Yeah, give it. It's the 445-5354. So.
Wait a minute. The area code. Give it again.
It's 314.
Area code? 314.
445.
445.
5354.
5354. Hang up and call that number.
Yes, sir. Hang up and call the number.
I'm calling it. Yeah, I'll call it up and call it in 10 seconds.
All right. See you, brother. Thanks.
All right, thank you. Yep.
All right. GQ, you with me? Hello? GQ. All right. Give me 1 second, guys. I got to... let's see. Sprint's probably like the worst carrier I've ever gotten. So, hold on. Be just one moment, guys. I got to turn my phone line down and then look her in here. So be just one moment here.
Two other participants in the conference.
All right.
How are you doing, sir?
I am fucking doing excellent, Daddy. Down in Tampa Bay, all healthy. Took my corona test and came back negative.
Oh, all right. Well, I mean, we're all on here now. Perfect. So,
Great.
well, we eventually got it. Man. I appreciate it.
Hey, but whatever we do, man, let's do it, baby. All good. I'm your boy.
Yeah. So real quick, you had a test for COVID-19. You had to do a COVID-19 test.
Yeah, because I just did a show at Fort Lauderdale at the Mecca Center in Florida for the virus. So my family said, hey, you should go take a test. You would just end up looking hot zone. So I took it, and 4 days later, they give me the results, and I'm all clean.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good. At least you're staying
Oh,
safe.
yeah.
that test has got to be worse than taking a few of those chair shots back in the day. I'll tell you that.
Brother, that fucking brawler came up to me with a 10-inch fucking Q-tip and stuck it up to my brain to my nose. It's what? It takes my eye, but not too bad. All good.
Oh man, awesome. Yeah, so so we'll go ahead and get started here for you. And once again, thanks again for doing this here for us. And so tell us so tell us how you got your start in the business with wrestling, how it all came about.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, are we ready to start?
Oh yeah,
Yep,
brother.
we're good.
Yeah.
All right, Daddy.
Yeah. So
what?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ruby.
Yeah. So what developed your interest in wrestling? How did that all come about for you?
How do I get involved in wrestling?
Yeah. Yeah. How did you get interested in it?
Well, back in the day, like Bill Watts, Louisiana, Von Erickson, Texas, the Crockett's in the Carolinas. So Florida was a hotbed for wrestling. One of the most premier companies in the United States. So I didn't know. I was about 12 years old. My father was a friend of a guy. He was a sports editor for the Tampa Bay Times, a newspaper, and he used to write the results for wrestling. Who won, who lost. And he was having lunch with my dad, and he'd say, "Hey, Steve, you got a couple of kids at home. They always give me comp wrestling tickets. Here, take these 2 kids, take them to wrestling." So my dad came home with 2 wrestling tickets. He said, "Hey, Billy, I got tickets for wrestling." I said, "Wrestling? What's that? I never seen wrestling on TV. Didn't know nothing about wrestling." So curiosity got me, and I used those tickets, and I went to my first match in Tampa. It was Eddie Graham, Ray Malenko, Bobo Brazil, Jack Briscoe, Dory Funk, Terry Funk. I walked in, I seen that. I fell in love with wrestling that night and wanted to become a wrestler. Of course, I grew up to be 155 pounds, 160 pounds, so that was impossible. So the next best thing was refereeing. So I hung around. I used to go every Tuesday night and watch the shows. I started meeting the wrestlers, and I met Rocky Johnson, Rock Dad, and Curtis, and Jack and Jerry Briscoe. They liked me. I used to go get them sandwiches, pick them up at the airport, and all that. And I was trying to get into the business. Finally, I got a break and got swept up and started refereeing.
Nice, awesome. And so you wanted to be a wrestler. Guys back then at 150 pounds was really hard to get into the business back then. We're talking
back
like
then. Now we got Rey Mysterio Jr., all these small guys. Now it's a little different, but back then everybody was big,
Mm-hmm.
And I was perfect size to be a referee. Rocky Johnson said, "Man, you're gonna make a great referee because you make us look bigger." Plus, I love the business. I was a natural. Because I had been watching it for several years, and thought I'd use the business. But there's more detail you learn as you go. So I ended up being one of the premier referees in the country.
Nice, yeah, and so you've had some really great experience here. And since you couldn't be a wrestler, were you athletic growing up? And what was, if you were involved in sports, what was your best sport that you were good at?
I'm a natural athlete. I was good in baseball, basketball, well, any sport, golf, anything. I'm not excellent, but I'd adapt to any sport. Track and field, I could run. I was just a natural athlete, small but natural,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, yeah. So,
yeah.
So any one of those that you excelled better at than any of those that you were in?
Baseball. I really liked baseball. I was good at baseball. And remember, I was a small guy. Even when I was growing up playing baseball, I played, the pee-wee stick, where you put the ball on the stick. And then I went to, all through the different phases I grew up. And I was really good. And I really liked it. I was a good hitter. I played outfield, but I was a good hitter. I could hit that ball. I don't care how fast they threw it. I was just, for some reason, boom, I could hit the fucking ball and get on base all the time.
Yeah.
I like baseball a lot.
Yeah. Awesome. So when you started out as a referee, of course, I think you've been like, am I correct to say that you've been pretty much a Tampa, Florida native all your life then?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I've had opportunities. I worked for Ted Turner in Atlanta. I worked for Vince, they're based out of Connecticut. I could have moved there because I was making enough money to pack up my shit and go, but I love Tampa so good. Tampa, brother, is a great city to grow up in. I mean, we got pro football, we got hockey, we got baseball, we got basketball right up the road in Orlando. Loaded with great restaurants, good nightlife. It's a great city, so I did not want to leave. So I was fortunate enough to base my whole career out of Tampa.
Oh man, yeah, that is awesome. And I guess that's kind of
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of a bummer this year because I'm also kind of interested because this year was supposed to have been WrestleMania 36 at Raymond James Stadium.
Oh yes.
And
yes.
And I'm just kind of interested. I mean, because I'm sure there's like a whole bunch of wrestling cons that was there that year too. That was scheduled and that all had to cancel.
That month that WrestleMania was supposed to be and it got canceled, I was booked every weekend. And the week of WrestleMania, there's 25 wrestling shows in Tampa, independents, all kind of. Plus I'm still involved with WWE. They still call me. I'm still in contact with them. I went through their wellness program. Vince loves me for some reason. So I was going to do they do an autograph, thing with all the wrestlers. I was invited to that. I was invited to all kind of different stuff for Vince, but all that got canceled. It was a disaster. I've worked two shows in the last 5 months.
Yeah.
Because of the virus, and nobody's running. Shut everything down. But what that's done for me, I got a little more active on social media.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, wrestling fans can't go see wrestling. They're all on the internet. They're buying shit. They're dying for the season wrestling. So I'm working at 15,000 people. Van Dam's got a million followers on social media. I'm working on 15,000 this year. So it's a big difference, but that's good for me. You know what I mean? It keeps growing and growing.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So I just I managed Taz, right? For a while.
Yeah.
And we had that Fuck the World belt that he just gave away on TV last week, remember?
Yeah, I saw something about that, yeah.
Okay, yeah, so I have a picture with me holding that belt, and I posted it. Now, if I would have posted this picture 2 weeks ago before that belt was brought, nobody's heard about that belt in years. Taz brought it out, gave it to his guy in managing. So I posted that picture on my social media, me holding the belt, and a little caption said, "Hey, Daddy, how can you give that Fuck the World belt when half of it belongs to me?" I'm making a joke, right? And it got like 1,400 hits. People liking the picture, you know, because of the belt. Because Taz just gave. If I would have did it 2 weeks ago, nobody would have cared about that picture. But but it's pretty cool to get responses like that.
Yeah. So when you first started out, as a referee, what was your first match that you officiated?
The first match that I got paid for, $90, was in Lubbock, Texas for the Punks. And the main event, and I refereed the match, was the Sheik, Sabu's uncle, against Terry Funk in a chain match, Russian chain match. Oh. And I refereed it, and I did really good. I made $90. The Sheik ended up ripping my shirt off and stabbing me with a pencil. He didn't mean to stab me for real, but he stabbed me in the arm, and I still got the lead mark 40 years later. I still got that lead mark in my arm. Oh. Now, I've told that story on different occasions, and people come up to me at these conventions and say, "Let me see the lead mark where the Sheik stabbed you," and I show it to them. Yeah. So that was 1978. in Lubbock, Texas.
Oh my goodness! Wow. Yeah, that.
He has the ultimate souvenir from his first time. So
Yeah, pretty cool. And that's when I told Sabu that story, when I met Sabu in ECW and told him that story, my first match I got paid for, made $90, was in 1978 with your uncle stabbing with a pin. Me and him had an instant bond. Instant. You know, because he praised his uncle. His uncle was his mentor, you know. The Sheik, what an uncle, right? So me and Sabu got clicked immediately.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, so at least a good part of your, they say almost the first half of your career, you were a referee, and of course,
Yes.
going through the NWA, going into the territories, then of course eventually going through WCW, then getting into WWE. So with over that first 16 plus years or so, what would you say was your best company to work for as a referee up to that point, and why?
Well, of course, I work for every major company: Florida Championship Wrestling, Ted Turner, WCW, WWF, Vince McMahon. I've been in Japan 13 times, then the ECW. So I made nothing but money with Ted Turner. I made six figure. I'll give you an exact figure. My first year, I made $105,000. That's a lot of fucking money for me. You know, I'm a young kid from West Tampa. I fucking grew up. And then now I'm putting on fucking national television on one of the biggest fucking channels there is, CBS, and give me $105,000 a year. That's fucking dope. So I had a great time there. Then I went to Vince and made the same money. I was making six figures there. And then I went to ECW, smaller company, at the break point. It was just starting out as a different company, hardcore, blood, guts, different company. Who knew there was a big market for that? I had the best time in ECW. Didn't make as much money. I still made $50,000 a year working 2 days a week in ECW, which is fucking great money, and working just 2 days a week. But I was a part of something that was growing. I was a part of something that was taking off. No other company in the history of professional wrestling made it like ECW. There's a lot of little indie shows, but we did 22 pay-per-views. You know, so I was brought into that at the beginning and stayed there till it closed. The only reason it closed because, fuck, we had no corporate. We did 22 pay-per-views. We had no corporate sponsors. We had no millions of dollars in the bank. Towards the end, after all the pay-per-views and shit, say these figures aren't exactly accurate, but they're kind of close. ECW, say in 1997, made $12.5 million with the revenue, the pay-per-views, the gates, the merchandise, but we were spending $14.5. You know, so it was hard. You know, no corporate sponsors, but all that being said, everybody was fighting and trying to do their best and proud of our company. So ECW, I had the best time. I had fun, was part of a fucking creating something. I love ECW. Even though I worked for the big shows, the WrestleManias, Japan 13 times, all that, ECW is my favorite place to work.
Yeah, and
I got recognition because I was, managing. I went from refereeing all those years to managing, and I fit right in. I was a natural, and I loved it. I had top spot. I worked with Taz, Van Dam, Sabu, the top guys. So that was pretty effing cool, Daddy.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And
I did a good job.
Yeah. So kind of segueing into that, I think it was around 95 when you started becoming a manager in ECW, I think.
May 1995, I started with ECW. Was there 5 years.
Yeah. And of course, you started out as a referee, but then eventually merging into the managerial role.
Manager of Champions, Daddy.
Yeah, that's right. ECW's Manager of Champions. That is right. So, who gave you the best advice and guidance, helping you with your managerial skills if you needed like a touch-up here or there?
Tommy Dreamer, Paul Heyman, and Todd Gordon. Because, look, I had been around the business already for 20 years before I came to ECW or longer. So it was a natural transition for me to go from, because I knew every aspect. I knew how to run the dressing room. I could give finishes. I would make fucking, I would do TVs, pay-per-views. I was, agent in the back and helping out, producing the show. So it was a natural transition for me because I had been around the wrestling business my whole life. It was a natural transition for me to go from referee to managing. But I didn't have the mic skills yet. So, for example, once I became manager with Taz, and okay, Fonzy, you got to do an interview about next week in Philadelphia. You're going to be fighting Mikey Whipwreck and say this and that. And I would say, okay, next Saturday night, Daddy, we're in Philadelphia at the ECW. We're going to kick back up, cut, take 2. Next week, cut, take 3. Cut, take 4. I was terrible. So Tommy Dreamer grabbed me and said, Fonzy, listen, just treat it like a shoot. You know you're fighting Mikey Whipwreck next Saturday night on August 11th. You know it's in Philadelphia. You know it's a fucking barbed wire match. You know it says, just talk about it like it's true, and it'll start flowing. So then I said, oh, that makes good sense. So then I said, hey, Daddy, Mikey Whipwreck, I defy you to show up in Philadelphia. And if you do, Taz is going to stretch you a new asshole, buddy, right there at the ECW Arena, August 11th. And then I got it. Then they call me One Take Fonzy. So, I just needed a little advice. So the advice came from Tommy Dreamer, Paul Heyman, and Todd Gordon, who's a founder and one of my best friends today of ECW.
Nice.
So I actually have a question to branch onto that. Do you actually think that the major youth in need of managers will ever become prominent again in the big promotions, or do you think it's kind of a lost art now?
No, it comes and goes. There's managers today, but there's room for character. Like if Vince brought me back, or that AEW brought me back and put me in there with one of their guys, it'd be. I think it'd work fine. And it's not so like it used to be, but I can adapt to any situation. But I think it would work. Not just so much for me, but look at Taz is managing to a certain capacity, right? As a manager, right. Several different managers out there. But it'll work. Another character, but you got to be good. Can't just put a guy out there that doesn't know the business.
Yeah,
you got to be good at what you do, because listen, there's only 300 jobs in WWF or in WWE, and there's 800 wrestlers that can fill those jobs and they're badass. So if you get hired by Vince McMahon, you better be on your A game, because if you're not, there's 600 guys that can take your place quick. And it's not just in the ring. It's not just performing in the ring. You better be badass, be natural, and perform your ass off. But you also got to know how to travel. You also got to know how to dress. You also got to know how to fucking make reservations. You also got to know how to work TV. You also got to do 20 other jobs, not just refereeing. So can't talk. And Van Dam could talk really good. Van Dam was really good, but somehow we clicked too. It was our characters, And I wasn't a bad guy or a good guy. I was a character. The same people who spit on me for blowing my whistle at ringside would buy me a cocktail at the Marriott after the matches. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that's yeah. I mean, but like I said, it's meant to get the guy over. Still, keep your character, from where you're at, but pushing, the guy that
exactly.
You're with,
Exactly. Well said. Yes, brother.
I mean, and it's a real good art to. I mean, you got to. Yeah, I mean it's a real art to perfect in order to accomplish that. And I mean, obviously, I mean you did it. I mean, between RVD and Sabu was really the type of character that really his action spoke for itself. And
Right, right.
and
When I say uh, ECW, Sabu was the best reputable person to be the face of ECW because he was hardcore. He was about ECW's Sabu did. The blood and guts and tables and juice and all that shit. Now the whole fucking show, RVD, he was the whole fucking show. But Sabu was like the face. When I mention ECW, they all say Sabu. Sabu is a perfect fucking figure for that spot.
yeah. So kind of getting back to Sabu real quickly because like so you consider him the face of ECW. Do you feel that he was pushed properly and given the proper spotlight as like a main event talent?
So Sabu was put, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was pushed pretty damn good, and he knew how to handle any situation. Sabu's fucking excellent at what he does. In that ring, there's nobody like Sabu. Nobody. Van Dam is fucking fantastic. He's a whole effing show, but there's nobody like Sabu.
Oh, right.
Because he's a hardcore. I mean, he can get his arm ripped off in that. Did you ever see that barbed wire match with him and Terry Funk?
Oh, yeah, with Sabu, yeah. Oh.
Yeah, where he rips his arm from under his armpit. He's got it caught in a barbed wire. Rips from his armpit to his elbow. It's about a fucking 15-inch gash, about an inch wide. His muscles were hanging out. His meat was hanging out. It was terrible. And you see him after his arm gets ripped off. He says, "Fonzy, go give me some tape." So he's taping his arm up in the ring while he's taking a reverse neck breaker onto a steel chair by Funk, still taping up his arm. He is badass. It's crazy. You watch that match again, you'll see what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I haven't seen that in a while, but I'm almost intrigued to see it again because you got to think, if you're doing that taping up in the middle and, you're taking a neck breaker and you're still trying to tape up your arm, I mean, you got to imagine that the adrenaline is flowing. Yeah,
yes.
At that point.
Oh my God, flowing. So we get back after the match. It took us 15 minutes to cut those two guys out of the barbed wire because what happened was the ring guy who sets up the ring. There's 3 different strands of barbed wire. There's barbed wire A, which is light barbed wire. There's barbed wire B, that's a little stronger and it keeps the bigger cattle and the bombs are bigger. And there's C, that's the worst one. That keeps those fucking big 1,000-pound bulls in place, right? So the guy, instead of buying the barbed wire A, the easy barbed wire, he buys the barbed wire C, the most dangerous barbed wire. So it was crazy, and it was too late. They set it up. They took the rope down. They set up the barbed wire. You can't change it because it's 10 o'clock at night. Where are you going to get barbed wire at 10 o'clock at night? So you had to use that fucking grade, the dangerous grade. That's why he got ripped open. So we get ripped open after the match. It took us 15 minutes to cut him out of the fucking barbed wire. We take him backstage, and now in Pennsylvania, the State Athletic Commission demands there's going to be a doctor at the show and 2 EMTs, the ambulance guys, at every show. It's a law. So we get back to the dressing room. Now, Sabu's got that 15-inch gash down his arm, looks like a zipper, his meat hanging out. They want to take him to the hospital because it looked fucking terrible. He had to go get stitched up. He says, "No hospital. Stitch it up right here." The doctor says, "Well, I got the stitched up. I don't have no anesthesia." Sabu said, "Fuck the anesthesia. Just start fucking sewing it up." So after about 50 stitches, Sabu turns to me and says, "Fonzy, this kind of hurts. Go to 7-Eleven and get me some super glue." I said, "What? Super glue? What are you going to do with that?" "I'm going to super glue my arm together." Now they got medical grade super glue where, it's designed where, they'll give you no toxicity because the fucking super glue at the 7-Eleven's full of chemical and all that. I thought Sabu was going to fucking get some type of fucking shock for the glue. But nope, after 50 stitches, he got tired of the stitches. I went and got him a super glue. He fucking super glued the rest of his arm up. Unbelievable. Who does that? Who does that?
Shoot, not. I wouldn't know of anybody that would. I mean, that is just a lot of guys I would know. I think I would. I could tell you that every guy I know, if they got an incident or like an injury like that, they're out of the locker room heading to the ER. I can tell you that right now. So
right, exactly.
yeah. So so let's kind of talk about. So we're going to talk. Obviously, we're talking about one bloody incident. We're going to be talking about another here that actually is involving you because you actually had some in-ring experience as a competitor. You had a match with Beulah. Beulah McGillicuddy. I think it was back in '97, and apparently you ended up taking like a chair shot that eventually.
No, it was a cooking sheet.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That
cookie sheet.
you make cookies. Yeah, and I got busted open right over my eye, and that happened. The match was about 7 minutes. Now, me and Beulah, they wanted to see me and her fight each other because we were in both matches. She's a diva manager, and I'm a fucking manager of Taz and Van Dam and Sabu. And we used to always get in each other's way. And the people wanted to see her beat my ass. So we came up with this match with me against her. But we're two non-wrestlers. You gotta remember, we shouldn't go in there and grab a headlock, shoot them off, one tackle, drop down, leapfrog, arm drag. We can't do that. We're not wrestlers, and we don't do that. And she's a fucking penthouse centerfold spread, adult movie star, entertainer. She's badass, and she was fucking beautiful, but she was small. So we designed a match like a hardcore, like a fight. You know what I mean? We shouldn't be doing arm drags and shit like that. We should just get out there and brawl. So the match only lasted 7 minutes. We had the format of the match down, and when she hit me with that cookie sheet, you couldn't hit me more perfect than she did. If it wasn't for me getting all that juice and bleeding good, we wouldn't be talking about this match today, because that's what made the match, all the blood. So it happened like, 30 seconds in the match, I get busted open and I'm bleeding throughout the whole match. It was fucking great, terrible at the same time. So after the match, I go backstage and there's the doc and there's the two paramedics. They're working on me. They couldn't stop the blood from flowing. Every time my heart would pump, blood was squirt out. So they said, Fonzy, you need to go to the fucking hospital. And of course, I'm no Sabu. I said, you damn right, let's go. So they put a cold piece of steel on my head, and then they taped my head up with a cold piece of steel to stop the blood from flowing. So they rushed me to the hospital in an ambulance in Philadelphia. I get to the hospital, and now head trauma, the hospital, the emergency room was full. There was 50 people in there, but when you got head trauma, they take you right in because they're afraid you're going to die. Plus, I was bleeding for 7 minutes. They said I lost 33% of my blood. So I get into one of their little rooms there. A nurse comes in, and she starts taking the tape off, and she wants to look at the cut. And I said, ma'am, I wouldn't do that if I were you because it's a pretty good cut and it's still bleeding. That's why they put the cold press on there. She said, son, don't tell me how to do my job. I've been a nurse for 27 years. Shut up. I said, okay. So she takes the tape off. She takes that steel, cold little press off my forehead. As soon as she did that, my heart was pumping, and it shot blood all over her face, all over her white outfit. She was pissed, boy. She hits the button, and she sees how bad the gash is, and she hits the button, and 3 or 4 people come in, and they come in with those fucking paddles, those electric things that jumpstart your heart. I said, hey, Doc, what's that for? He said, oh, just in case. I don't want to hear that. Fuck. But, so they ended up sewing me up, and I got, 28 stitches or whatever it was, inside and out. I severed an artery up there somehow. I lost feeling in my head for like 6 months. I couldn't feel the top of my head. Oh
my gosh,
that was pretty cool. So they wanted to keep me in the hospital overnight because I lost supposedly 33% of my blood. And the doc, after they stitched me up and inside and out and put a couple staples in my head, they said, hey, we want to admit you for a couple of days or at least overnight because you suffered head trauma and all that. I said, no, I can't stay overnight. I got a flight out. I live in town. I got a flight out at 7:30 in the morning. So they said, if you want to leave, you got to sign a release to leave. Say, we're not responsible. We told you to stay in the hospital. So I signed a release, and the doctor said, here's what he said. Now, you're going to be released. I don't want you to have no alcohol. Don't smoke cigarettes. Don't smoke pot. Don't take a pill. I want you to go back to your hotel room, lay down, drink some orange juice. I don't even want you to fly tomorrow, but, you know, you're persistent. I said, okay, doc. So they don't let a patient walk out of the hospital. They got to take you out in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
That's their policy. So I'm in the wheelchair. They're wheeling me out, and they're Sandman. He's been waiting for me for 2 hours. As soon as I get in the car with Sandman, he's got a 44-ounce, you know those big gulps at 7-Eleven? He's got a 44-ounce full of vodka with a little splash of cranberry. He shoves a pill in my mouth, some type of Percocet. Lights up a joint. Exactly what the doctor told me not to do. We go back to the hotel. We go into the fucking house, and everybody's buying me drinks and shit. I get a fucking buzz on. I'm half dead. That's what happened. Kind of a cool story, but crazy, right?
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
And true story. I mean, this is a true story. I remember like it was yesterday because it was a big deal, you know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, these are stories that you know, people, you know, you just can't believe, you know, like, gosh, you know, you just got out of a hospital, the doc wants you to go, and here the most extreme drinking individual of all of wrestling, the Sandman.
Oh my God! Yeah, Sandman. He's got a 44-ounce big gulp full of fucking vodka. I said, what the fuck?
As soon as he said Sandman was waiting for him, I'm like, there goes all the doctor's orders right out the window right there.
Brother, he lit up a big fat joint, and you know I'm not a pill guy, but he put a fucking Percocet in my mouth. Made me, you know, he didn't make me. He just, you know, I went along. And I was having a good time. And I was getting, when we go back to the hotel, everybody's patting me on the back saying, oh, what a great match, Fonzy. You're really good. All the fans were there. A lot of fans were in the bar, in the lot, you know, in the Holiday Inn there by the football stadium. It was pretty cool. But not the smartest thing I've done, but thank God I got away with it. Still here today talking to you.
Oh, my God, yeah. Wow, so man, that's man, what an incredible story, man. I'll tell you what, whew, yeah, losing all that blood and then keep going. Yeah. I guess if you have to be at another booking, I guess in this business you gotta somehow get to it one way or the other. So
yes.
So there was a match between the Rotten Brothers that you were involved with at a Hardcore Heaven pay-per-view.
Okay. The Taipei Death Match.
Yes.
So the fans, so how I got to ECW was I worked for Florida Championship Wrestling from Florida in the 80s. Paul Heyman came down with a wrestler named Tombstone for the summer, and he wasn't booked. He was trying to get into business. He was a photographer. He was this. He was that. You know, so Tombstone got his notice. He was going to go to a different territory. And I was assistant booker. Bob Root was a booker. I was assistant booker in Florida at that time when Paul Heyman came down. So Paul Heyman came up to me and says, Fonzy, you know, Tombstone's leaving. He's going to Mid-Atlantic to work with Jim Crockett. You think it's possible that I can go to the ring with him and act as his manager for the last 2 weeks he's here? And I said, well, he had a pair of Levi's on. He had an old pair of Converse. He had a T-shirt with a hole in it. I didn't know he's from Scarsdale, New York. Fucking his family's wealthy as fuck. He's got all kind of money. I said, hey, Paul, I like the idea that you want to be his manager and go to the ring and all that, but, you know, you got a pair of Converse on, a shitty pair of jeans. I said, you have money to buy a suit? He says, oh, yeah. I said, okay, we'll get you a suit and dress up, and we'll let you fucking manage him for the last week. And Tombstone was fighting Razor Ramon, Scott Hall at the time, and at the end of the matches, 1, 2, 3, he would grab Paul Heyman and give him a big press slam, right? And he would pop, and then they left the territory, and then Paul Heyman ended up going to a Pervert Gagne in Minnesota, and became a big star in WCW and all that. He became a big star. So I get a phone call. I leave WWF. I finish up there. Paul Heyman calls me. I'm still on Monday Night Raw because I was on the first taping of the first Monday Night Raw back in '93. So back then we would do one live show, Monday Night Raw live. Tuesday night we would tape Monday Night Raw for the following Tuesday, and Wednesday we would tape a third show for the following week, and then it would repeat itself. Then one live show, 2 tape shows. So anyway, I was still on TV when I went to ECW. So my phone rings. I'm in Florida, and it's Paul Heyman. I haven't talked to Paul in over a year or two. He said, "Hey, Fonzy, how you doing?" We bullshit for a minute. He says, "Look, I got this company in Philadelphia called ECW." I said, "ECW? What the fuck's an ECW?" Because you remember, I worked for all these major companies. I've been working any indie shows in my whole career. I was Florida Championship Wrestling, Ted Turner, Vince McMahon, Japan. I've been mainstream. He said, "I got this idea for you to come in for 4 weeks and be anti-ECW because Vince McMahon wants the doctor's wife, and the doctor's 2 kids at ringside. Family entertainment. Now, ECW is hardcore, violent, underground, black market, this, that, crazy. So my job was to be anti-ECW's violence and try to make it like WWF. And the people hated me. They fucking hated me because of that angle. So, but I was supposed to stay there 4 weeks and get chokeslammed and move on, you know. But it ended up getting over. People didn't like me. And then I ended up staying there 5 years.
Yeah. Yeah. My goodness. Yeah. So, in your 5-year tenure with ECW, what would you say would be the scariest incident that you witnessed during that time?
Probably there was several, but the barbed wire match because Sabu almost ripped his arm off. The Fonzy Mula match because almost bled to death, bled out. Sandman almost dying from taking his fucking pill in the car. He almost died. We had to call 911. He was fucking lips were turning blue. He was close to death. Many near fucking car crashes. A lot of crazy incidences, but you know, but thank God we survived.
Oh my goodness! But yeah, yeah. I mean, definitely. You know, some in the ring, some behind the scenes, and you know, some some are when they're pill popping. You know, I mean, some guys would, and then I've always it's like, gosh, I hope that they're going to be okay. Just trying to get going, or trying to keep moving on to like the next venue, whatever. But when I was watching, back in that, the Extreme era, and under Heyman, and when some of these guys, I mean, at the ECW arena, I mean, going up to that balcony, and with New Jack jumping off the top, some other guys coming off the top, and just
crazy.
Yeah, like
how'd they do that? How they do this live? I don't know.
Oh my gosh! I mean, I have. Gosh! I mean, some of these guys that are, that take those falls, are like, luckily, you said that ECW is working like twice a week, so
right.
Some of these guys are taking the falls. I mean, thank God they got like a couple days to recuperate. But my God, I mean,
Well, let me use some examples. When I go, I did 10 or 12 conventions last year, and everybody's there from Sting to Mikey Whipwreck to Cactus Jack, everybody. And they're all limpy. They all got plastic hips. They all got bad knees, their backs. They're all, you know what I mean? That ECW era took a terrible toll on these guys' bodies. Every one of them. Every wrestler that I see has been in the business any length of time. All have serious health problems. All of them. Knees, back, elbows, concussions. It's terrible.
Oh, yeah.
The price you pay, you don't think of it at the time. You think you're invincible. When New Jack was flying off the balcony, going through tables and all that, it was crazy. It looked great that night, but man, they pay for it now.
Oh,
But that was the ball. That's what got ECW over,
yeah. I mean, yeah, with the hardcore style, and then of course,
Right.
major company, and it's kind of funny how you guys still, even though with ECW not having any major sponsors or anything else like that, or
Right.
corporate sponsors, but yeah, you still see WCW and WWE still trying to bring hardcore into the fold to try to bring your audience, to bring the EC audience over back to them. To try to put it in the mainstream, and it just didn't. I mean,
And it didn't work either
no,
because the true wrestling people, like, the hardcore fans, is supposedly the smart mark. They see through it. You know what I mean? They see that they're trying to copy ECW, so they didn't buy it so much.
yeah,
But they use it. You know who liked ECW and WWF was Shane McMahon. Loved ECW. Vince wasn't a big fan of us because he's family entertainment. But his son, you see his son jump off the cages and shit. You see Shane do those crazy bumps, as
oh
a spinoff
yeah,
of ECW.
oh my God, yeah. I mean, yeah, Shane was probably the guy that took
And,
the
and,
yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
yeah, and he don't have to do that. He's a millionaire's son. He's probably a millionaire himself. You don't have to fucking dive off the top of the cage, you know. But he loves the business. He loves ECW, so that's a direct spin-off of ECW. And a good example.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's Shane making the ultimate sacrifice to try to bring bring that over into the fold. But toward the end of the tenure, like it's, you mentioned before, you guys having corporate sponsors, 97, you had 12.5 million in revenue, but, there was 14.5 going out the door. So boom,
Right,
so
right.
you're 2
Now,
million in the
don't
red.
quote me on those figures because I'm just giving you an example, but it was
Yeah.
similar to that. It
Oh,
might have
okay.
been 10 million and we spent 11. Might have been 18 million, we spent 19.
Right.
So those figures are accurate in an example way.
Yeah. So, I mean, do you think that just with mismanagement of getting sponsors, or I mean, was it just mismanaged? Was it just like was there like poor management that led to the fall of ECW?
No, I don't say poor management. It was just wasn't enough money.
Right.
And all those rumors about bad checks and, Paul Heyman was bouncing checks and he didn't get back. All that's bullshit because 5 years I was there, I never got a bad check, never been underpaid. I made, in 5 years I worked, in 5 years in ECW, I worked 370 days in 5 years. Now remember, we worked 2 days a week, sometimes 1 day a week.
Yeah.
And I made $250,000 in 5 years there.
Mm.
But I only worked 1 year, really, 370 days. Now, that's double what Vince paid me for a year,
Wow.
And Vince, you would work 7 days, 3 days off. Work 10 days, 3 days off. You always gone minimum 7 days and maximum. I was gone one time for 60 days without going home. So that's 60 hotel rooms. That's 180 restaurants. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Vince is paying you. You're making good money. But my whole point is we were making money in ECW too. And working Friday and Saturday only. We never worked Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Sunday. Well, some Sundays because we did pay-per-views. We did 22 pay-per-views, but the money was there. The money was there. That's an incentive. Plus, we wanted the company to succeed because we were a family. We were trying to make this damn thing go. And we had no corporate sponsors. It wasn't mismanagement. I mean, we could have had a little better management, but still, the best management without corporate sponsors doesn't work. We were struggling, but struggling in a good way and putting on a great product. We had great product. ECW people loved us, man. People loved freaking ECW.
No,
That's where all those chants come from. You fucked up. You fucked up. ECW, all that shit started there in ECW. Now it's used around the world.
Yeah.
They were definitely the most passionate fans that I've ever seen in any kind of wrestling.
Good
show.
word. Good word. Passionate. Good word. Wrestlers are passionate, and the fans were. Good word, brother. Good, perfect word.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely was. The ECW crowd, back then. Just the way that these guys were hitting their moves and the reactions that you were getting. Whether it be your TV show, pay per views, probably even house shows too. If we even got those, but I'm sure everybody was pumped and just loud and probably from top to bottom. I would just imagine. Um, you know, uh, you know, uh, they ECW came around because we're in around the St. Louis area, and I know like in 2000 when ECW was on TNN, at that time, and they came in and just think of you had at that time you had Dusty Rhodes, part of ECW. That was
Right.
that was just taking a loan
Brother,
from me
we
to
had
go
so
see.
much talent come through there. We had so much talent stop through there. On the way to WWF, Steve Austin, Koso stopped in there for a month. Brian Pillman, Dusty Rhodes, the Road Warriors. So many big names. Dusty Rhodes, big name. Everybody came through there but Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
Everybody stopped in there. People wanted to come to the ECW. All these mainstream guys, Scott Hall, the Steiners. Tons of names. If you look back, they were there for a minute. They all wanted to come see and feel the ECW.
Yeah, and
it was good for the people. The people loved it. When Dusty showed up at ECW, the people lost their fucking minds.
Oh, I was one of them. I'm like, holy crap! I had Dusty Rhodes as an ECW. Wow, and they had a show here or like TV taping here, and Dusty was part of that too. And man, I'll tell you that was definitely an experience to see Dusty Rhodes on a ladder in the middle of an ECW ring, and just celebrating. I believe it was at the Sandman at the time. I had to go and recollect to see who all was in there. But just to have all these legends that passed through ECW.
Right.
It really helped with your guys' notoriety to keep through it.
Yes.
And that extreme legacy people still talk about today. There is still nothing like it. I feel. But just some great times. So, ECW got sold 2001, and then 4 years or so later, here we come again with the hint of guys coming back. I'm not even going to talk about the whole ECW in 2001 after the sale because that was just used as a storyline, and that was watered down, and I'm sorry, but that could have been a little bit better, at least in my opinion, because they didn't use enough guys. At least I felt. They
when Vince bought us out, he watered it down so much that people, didn't have a chance. I don't know why Vince did that when he could have had a separate company, kept it going similar fashion, but I don't know if he was anti-ECW or what. The problem was tax write-off. I don't know why he bought it and let it go.
Yeah.
It was never the same.
Well, he had 2 runs with the XFL. I'm sure he can probably give you some insight on that. But,
Yes. Yeah, Daddy. Yep, you're right, Daddy.
Yeah, so I'm sure he could probably give his reasons. But 2005, though, we hear of some of the guys coming back and eventually build up to ECW One Night Stand in the Hammerstein Ballroom because you guys had some big events there. Back in New York. So how did it feel reuniting with all the Extreme Originals and feeling the energy back from those fans for that one special night back then?
It was very cool. I knew it wasn't going to go anywhere, but that particular night was on fire. People were fucking, it was mostly ECW Original fans that were there. There were a bunch of tickets sold out. We put on a hell of a show. It felt freaking great. It felt, but we were trying to recreate something that wasn't going to last because Vince didn't want anything to do with it. I don't know why Vince didn't keep pushing it because that night was so successful. The buy rate was good. The boys were on their game. Van Dam, everybody was there. They just didn't follow through on it. This was like a one-night stand. You know, what was the name of the event? One night only or whatever.
Yeah, it was one night stand back in 2005. Yeah, so
Yeah. So it was a shame that they didn't follow through on it. But, you know, we all got a reunion. We all see each other and hang out. But, you know, the guys that left there were successful. Look at me. I'm ECW closed down 20 years ago, and I'm still relevant to the business. I still work shows all over. Before the virus, I was working at least 3 or 4 shows a month for the last 20 years, somewhere in the country, and conventions, and I do seminars, I do podcasts. I'm still relevant from ECW. So that's the number. When I go to these conventions, the smart marks and the fans that really know the shit, they know my background, wrestling from Florida, TBS, WF, but the main thing is they all want to know about ECW.
yeah, and you know, I mean, I actually, you know, I've got an in-ring career here around the Midwest, and I know, you know, I was trying to build up, you know, I don't even know what a good of a chance I would have even got in the ECW if I tried in '98. Here we go, GQ throwing his head up against the wall and trying to hit himself, but still. You know, because
Yes.
because I know that ECW had passionate fans, and I know that, you know, it was a brand like no other, and I just you know, even to somehow even get you know, to ECW, but you know, things happen for a reason. I didn't get up there, but I mean, but it was good just to have that one night stand in 2005. Now they brought it back another year, you know, the next year in '06, and that's when Van Dam had his match with Cena at the time, you know, for the WWE title. So what was that moment in '06? Because I know you were in the ring celebrating, and of course other superstars in there when he won the WWE title. I mean, was that a moment just as special with Van Dam? You know, when you came back in '05?
Well, I'd say any night in a sold out arena or any night in any arena is a special night for me. You know, but it is what it was what it was. You know, it was great, a great night, but you know, we knew it was going to be just a night. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. But then, and of course, a little bit later after that, they did try bringing on ECW TV again on their own nights, and tried doing the whole you know, kind of like the house show feel with it. But you know,
Right.
I mean, it was okay for a while. I mean, and that's where you know, they're bringing in, you know, they're basically brought in their developmental guys, the guys that were coming up through indies. That's where they were putting them.
Right.
You know, and this was all
Right.
before NXT was even a thing. So that's what they were using, that platform of the ECW. And like I said, they did try to do some stuff, but like I said, it was, you know, when WWE gets a hold of something, it's like, you know, you ask for whiskey and they're giving you water with a little bit of tea, and they're trying to sell you
Right.
that,
Right.
you know. So it's like,
Well said.
yeah. So I mean, it's like, you know, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I like just seeing, you know, just the feel, kind of get the house show feel and everything else. But nothing beats the Extreme Era back in ECW, because it definitely left its legacy for, you know, for their brand here. So yeah, but man, I mean, it's just great. Great talking with you here, and you know, sharing all those.
Oh, I'm flattered to be on your show. You see what I mean? I'm still relevant because of ECW, because of the Beulah match. That's when I do the conventions. The number one thing they ask me is about ECW. Oh, about the Beulah Fonzy match, who almost bled out. Oh, about the Bob Wire match. Then they asked me about Lex Luger and Bruiser Brody in the steel cage in Fort Lauderdale when Lex Luger jumped over the steel cage and left the building because he was afraid of Bruiser Brody. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
those are some of the.
Yeah. So I mean, someone brought that up in our chat room earlier, during this, and yes, like, ask about the Luger Brody. Yeah, I believe, and I know the guy who did. But yeah, but what was up with that? So I mean, It's just.
Well, it was a bad booking. It was a bad booking because look, Luger was just starting out in the business. He had been around for a year, maybe a little. You know, he trained, went through the, and Luger had that fucking beautiful body, right?
Yeah.
He had a fucking great body. He was a good-looking kid. He could basically do some decent interviews, but he wasn't a natural in the ring. You know, like Barry Windham's a natural.
Yeah.
Jake Roberts was a natural. Lex Luger wasn't a natural. He had to work twice as hard, and still he could see through it. He just, even though he was athletic and a football player and a hell of a nice guy, and I love Lex, and I'm still friends with him today. I see him at these autographs at the conventions and stuff. It was a bad booking because, look, when Luger started out, they wanted to give him the big push. They wanted him to be the next freaking superstar. And they tried everything they did. They handpicked his opponents. And finally, when they put him with an old veteran like Bruiser Brody, who's kind of like a disruptive guy, he's not easy to get along with. I mean, he's business, but, you know, he's temperamental. He's wants to do it his way. So you put him in there with a young guy who doesn't have the experience. We're talking about Lex Luger, and he wasn't a natural. And usually the experienced guy like Brody would lead the match. You know what I mean? He's got some format in his mind he wants to do. But Luger didn't understand that because he was getting his opponents handpicked for, you know, to try to get him over. So when they put him with Brody, and Luger was trying to do the same things he's doing with these young kids, the handpicked opponents, the easy 1, 2, 3, and Brody wasn't having none of that. And he wouldn't sell. Luger would punch him, boom, 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 but Brody wouldn't sell. And then Brody was giving those big forearms to the back, stiff and shit. And Luger started to freak out. He said, Fonzy, what do I do? Fuck, he's not selling for me. But I said, Luger, just listen to Brody. That's all you got to do. He's going to tell you exactly what to do and what not to do. But it was like a deer in the headlights. You know, when a deer gets in the headlights, they go blind, they freeze up.
Oh,
you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
So it was the same concept. So finally, Luger freaked out so much that he jumped over the cage, went to the dressing room, grabbed his bag, threw it in the fucking car, and drove back to Tampa. No shower, no nothing. He was so freaked out. And of course, I disqualified him for leaving the match. But it was a bad booking. It was a bad booking. Nobody sat down with Luger and Brody and said, "Hey, Brody, this is our new superstar. Can you please work with him and try to make him look good?" Nobody said that. You know, none of the bookers. There wasn't even a booker there. They just, you know. So it was bad booking, bad business. It wasn't Luger's fault at all. It wasn't Brody's fault at all. It shouldn't have happened. Shouldn't have happened. They shouldn't have been booked together.
Yeah. Yeah, that was just kind of, you know, that was just kind of, I mean, that just seemed like kind of an odd match because he just climbed up and just left out of the cage. And I'm like, because I remember seeing that match and I'm like, okay. Like, so I'm looking at this like, it's like, I don't think anybody's selling for anybody here. It's like, I think they have no idea where they're going. So it's like,
right.
Luger just left and went out of the building.
Yeah, he literally climbed over the cage because the cage door was locked. He couldn't get out. So he climbed over the cage, went to the dressing room, grabbed his bag in a panic, threw his bag in the car, and left the building.
Wow.
You know, it was crazy. That's unusual. So that's a big. People ask me about that match all the time. Now it's that infamous match or whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, yeah. That's well.
So it was a bad booking. That shouldn't have happened. It was the fucking office fault, not Luger's and not Brody's.
Yeah, no. And then, like you said, 32.
And I was a referee, of course. I was a referee.
Yeah. So and then of course, 32 years ago today is the incident, tragedy in Puerto Rico where Brody was murdered, and
terrible, yeah.
Yeah, definitely something that should have never happened, and it just definitely a gentle giant. with that. So, and it's just kind of a tragedy with that. But, um, yeah, but
Oh yeah, bro. Everybody's heart was terrible.
yeah, but definitely a good man. And so, yeah, like I said, we definitely appreciate you staying on here with us. I know you're in
Oh,
Tampa.
brother, I'm flattered. Thank you so much for having me on your show, man. You guys do a good job. You know why you guys do a good job in your podcast? I'm going to tell you why. Because you're just like me. We love the business. You love the business. That's why you guys are successful. That's why you guys do these podcasts. And you guys do well. I'm happy for you. And we're all thankful. Wasn't for guys like us, like me and you and your boys there producing all that, we just love the business. We love the business.
Yeah, and
that's why we're successful. That's why I'm so successful for all these years, because I stuck up for the business. I had a good year. I mean, I had a fabulous career. Fabulous. Been around the world, Japan 13 times, all through Europe. What referee does that? Not too many.
Yeah, and like I said, we definitely appreciate the comments and with me.
Oh, you guys are great. You guys are great.
Yeah,
I listen to your show as much as I can. Now even more.
Yeah,
now, I met you guys and hang out with you and do the stuff. I'm supporting you guys for all ever.
Man, hey Bill, that really means a lot, man, and for you to come on.
Oh, you guys mean a lot. You guys mean a lot to me. I'm dead serious. Wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't have a platform to talk. Social media, but this is an important part of my career. It's an important part for the fans. It's important for you guys. No, I'm really dead serious when I'm saying that. I'm not kissing your ass or bullshitting. It's true, brother. It's all good. You guys are great guys. And I'll say it again. You love the business just like me.
And I'll be the one to say it. And you've been one of the people I've looked at and watched and followed a lot of this stuff when I became a manager in the business back in '97 and tried to perfect a lot of the work of that as well. And it just shows that to have the dedication and to enjoy the business is what makes you successful. And
there you go.
Makes it enjoyable to begin with.
Can I give you a little advice on managing and all that?
Go ahead.
Be yourself. The Fonzy character, I'm a character. I'm not a bad guy or a good guy. I'm a character. So what you see, what the wrestling fans see of me is my real personality. I just hype it up about 30 more %. I'm naturally hyper anyway. So, and then I just turn it up a little bit. You got to be yourself. I want you to dress good too. When you go to that arena, I'm going to give you an example. Me, Hulk Hogan, and Sting are checking into the Marriott in New York City. When we walk in, there's Hulk Hogan, the 22-inch python. There's Sting, the blonde hair, beautiful bodies. When they walk in that door, they're recognized instantly. And I'm recognized because I'm with them. They don't know who I am, but I'm with them. So they roll out the red carpet. Yes, Mr. Hogan. Yes, Mr. Alfonso, we've been expecting you. Your rooms are ready. Here's a red thing. Here's a bonus. Here's an extra thing. Boom. Now, if I walk in that Marriott without Hulk Hogan and without Sting, and I walk in by myself with a pair of jeans on and a nice polo shirt, and I say, the clerk says, can we help you? Yes, I have a reservation, William Alfonso. Hold on a few minutes. We'll be with you in a few minutes. They walk away. They don't give a fuck about me. Now, if I walk in without Hulk Hogan, without Sting, I walk in with a beautiful suit, nice luggage, a fucking beautiful watch. My hair's in place. I'm clean shaven. I look like somebody. When I walk into that Marriott, can we help you? William Alfonso. Oh, Mr. Alfonso, we've been expecting you. Thank you. Because appearance is everything. You gotta, when you go to that arena, brother, you gotta look different for the fans. You can't walk in there with a nice T-shirt. You gotta walk in there like you're somebody. If they don't know who you are, look at that motherfucker. He's dressed real nice. He's somebody. Who is he? You know what I mean? So, and I want you to treat everybody in the dressing room, from the ring guys to the first matches to the main event, the same. Don't put the main event over in the dressing room like he's like. You got to treat everybody the same. Everybody that gets you over. Don't be late. Be punctual. I'd rather be 2 hours early than 10 minutes late. Ever. That's a bad reputation. You gotta learn how to conduct yourself. You gotta learn how to travel. You gotta learn how to make reservations. You gotta learn how to get a hotel, book your flight, book a rental car. All that goes in with the whole basket of wrestling. You gotta be excellent at what you do. And if you can't do something really good, I'll give you another example. Van Damme's a Class A, world-class athlete. Would you agree?
Oh, yeah.
I agree.
Absolutely.
Okay. He can't throw a punch, though. He can't throw a good punch. I said, Van Damme, you do everything so good, but you can't throw a good punch, so don't throw it. So he stopped throwing punches. He said, you could never perfect it. Don't do something that you can't do really good. You got to do everything you do. You got to be fucking on the mark. Don't make it look half-assed. Don't make it look hard. You got to look like a natural. So that's my little bit of advice to you.
And I appreciate it.
Yes, and I mean that sincerely. I want you to start dressing real nice. Not that you don't dress nice. When you go to the ring, your gear, make it look fucking beautiful. Make it look like you're somebody. I know you're not making big money in the indie scene, so it's hard to, buy $1,000 suit. You don't have to buy $1,000 suit and you go, but I want you to dress good. Appearance, presentation is everything, my brother. Presentation. When I go to a party, when I'm invited to somebody's house, you know how you take a loaf of bread and a bottle of wine, right? To somebody's party. It's a natural thing to do. When I go to a party, I'll stop and buy a beautiful basket, fill it full of fruit, a bottle of wine, bread, flowers, all in one basket. Presentations. When I walk in with that basket, everybody else brought a bottle of wine. Fonzy brings in a fucking $50, $60 basket full of fucking bananas and avocado and fucking grapes and wine, beautiful. It'll cost you a few bucks, but presentation is everything. Presentation is everything. Yeah. Would you rather have, if I went to Las Vegas and you were my best friend and you can go to Vegas and I brought you a T-shirt in a plastic bag, hey, I brought you a T-shirt from Las Vegas. Oh, thanks, Fonzy. But if I brought you that same T-shirt, brother, in a box, wrapped up nice, presentation, the church would look that much better. This presentation is everything. So you got to present yourself 5-star every fucking day and be consistent. And don't be a dick. Talk to everybody. Put everybody over. You know what I mean? It works, brother. She carried me through 40 years. I'm well liked in the business. You ask any wrestler, hey, what do you think about Fonzy? Oh, Fonzy's dope. He's a pretty cool cat. Nice guy. But, presentation is everything. I believe that. And karma, good karma.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely good.
So that's my 2-minute lesson advice for you.
Oh, yeah. I mean, any advice from a long time.
And it makes sense, right? What I said made sense.
Yeah. I mean,
no, absolutely. I agree 100%.
Yeah, all you guys.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
And
I'm happy to be here talking to you. Thank you for having me here.
Yeah. So we definitely appreciate all of that. I mean, definitely any type of advice or guides, especially from a longtime veteran for you who started their, career over 40 years ago. Wow. I'm
very lucky. I'm very lucky and very blessed.
Yeah.
But if I didn't have talent, if I didn't dress good, if I didn't look good, if I was late all the time, I wouldn't have this job. You got to have talent.
Yeah.
You got to be fucking good at what you do.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you gotta know what you're doing. So yeah, and just remember, GQ. He keeps fans as long as he keeps his shirt on, and that's kind of one of the things.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, so
it.
Keep the buttons buttoned for GQ for certain. So now with everything going on, I mean, have you been cleared or known of like maybe possible appearances that you're having yet, or has anything been?
Say that again. I couldn't hear you.
No, I mean, do you have any upcoming appearances, even though with everything going on?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Lucky for me that I'm well liked, and I'm still relevant in the business. I get these little companies calling me all the time. Now, nobody's running, but there's a few little shows. I do podcasts, of course.
Right.
I just did a seminar in Fort Lauderdale for a company called CCW. Pablo, he wrestled a little bit in ECW back in the day. He's got a company there. He's got all students. I did a seminar telling these students just what I told you about dressing nice and don't be late and all that shit. And it's not only the ring. So I did a great seminar. I got a standing ovation at the end of the seminar by 22 young kids that didn't know me, but they know me of me. But they, I get an event coming up this month, July 25th, and this is the first live show that I do in Nashville for the same company, CCW. They're flying me up, giving me a nice payday, put me in a hotel, nice.
Wow.
A few events they're starting to come up, but we don't know what this fucking virus is doing. So nobody's running, Damn.
Yeah.
And it hurts too. But thank God I made money during Vince and Turner and ECW, and I paid my house. And I'm not rich and famous, but I got a little bit of money, and all my shit's paid for. So I'm fucking one of the luckier ones.
Yeah.
But I can't go on forever like this, and I love the business. So, and plus I don't want a fucking job. I can't be a fucking lawyer. I'm too old already. I can't go back to school and be a fucking banker.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we'll see.
Wrestling's my life.
Yeah. I mean, I think things are going to come around, but I think things are going to come around after, I don't know, I guess, in mid-November, I think things are going to start picking up again. And I've got
I think so. The company I work for, AIW out of Cleveland, they're thinking September. They're going to be able to start running shows. And I love this little company. I go up there every there a year. I manage Matthew Justice up there. They brought me in to manage him, and we work good together. He's their RVD. Matthew Justice is a RVD of AIW, and he's badass too. They put me with him, and we click good together. But when I walk in that dressing room, I put the main event over, like my boy Justice. I talk to all the underneath guys, the first matches, the ring guys. They all love me because I'm good at what I do.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. At least, I mean, you're gonna get back in the swing of things. And gosh, I mean, everybody that's involved in the scene, they want to get out there. They want the crowds back at the shows. And, for those who work in this business,
yes,
we're really looking forward to that. And we can't wait till it happens. So it's like the ultimate build-up, pretty much like the longest storyline of everybody being alienated.
You're right, brother. You're right. There's a lot of us out there who can't wait to get back to work. I can't wait.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I'm fucking bored. I'm all going on. I was booked all through March. I was booked all through WrestleMania. I was working like 6 shows that week, WrestleMania. I was booked I was working every weekend for March, April, May. I was booked every weekend somewhere in the United States, either for a convention or AIW or autograph session, whatever. I was booked. It's been terrible. We can't wait to get. And the fans are hungry for us. You see how the internet is, social media blows up every fucking night.
Yeah. Well, like I said, we will get back in the swing of things, and things will start getting better here. But I know that we've kind of gone over a little more than we were supposed to, but
that's fine, brother. That's fine. That's fine.
Like I said, we appreciate you coming on here. Definitely, it was a pleasure and an honor for you to be on the podcast.
Thank you very much. I'm very flattered you guys thought of me.
No, yeah, definitely. Thanks for thinking of us, and definitely.
Hey, because I am a legend in my own mind.
Yeah.
I'm fucking with you guys. People say, "Oh, you've been around a long time. You're a legend." I'm a legend in my own mind. It's a outgoing joke, but because I can't call myself a legend,
Right. Well, yeah, like I said, I know it's getting late over there, but we're gonna start wrapping up things here in a little bit here. But I definitely
Yeah,
want,
man. Yeah.
yeah, but I definitely want to thank you very much for chiming in, being our featured guest here tonight. And it was definitely a great honor and definitely one for the books for us. And it's definitely memorable for certain.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, guys. Your producer, you guys do the commentary, you do the interviews. You guys do a really nice job. I'm proud of you guys.
Oh man, I appreciate it, Bill. And
Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
I'm sincere. I'm sincere when I say that.
yeah. Well, we would definitely appreciate that. And you enjoy the rest of your evening. And hey, enjoy a good weekend.
Oh, yeah. Hey, I got a tall, blonde girl that I like a lot. I'm spending the whole weekend with her.
Oh,
Tall, blonde, light skinned, beautiful. She's my age. I'll be 63 next month. Me and Hulk Hogan get the same birthday. He's a minute older than me, but I got a birthday coming up. And this tall, blonde girl, beautiful. She's my age, and she's a fox, boy. Oh my God, she's hot.
oh my
I'm
goodness.
lucky to be friends with her.
Yeah, yeah. Keep
I'd
young
marry.
forever if you can.
I'd marry her. I'd marry her for a weekend.
For a weekend. That's awesome. Holy crap, that is funny. Oh man.
Hey, witness, think about having me on as another guest one day because I haven't told you any stories about Barry Windham getting shot an hour before he's got to wrestle Harley Race 60 minutes. I didn't tell you anything about the near plane crash with me, superstar Billy Graham, Kevin Sullivan, Ron Bass. I didn't tell you about the time Roddy Piper shot the alligator. I got some great stories. So
Oh man.
put those in the back of your mind, and we'll talk about it one day. Maybe we can do another one, or maybe just have me on as a guest or whatever. Or, hey, when I come to your area, you damn sure better let me know. I will take you. Or if you ever come to Tampa Bay, you guys got my cell number. Call me. I'll take you guys out to dinner. That's a promise.
Hey man, if I get out to Tampa,
That sounds better. That sounds like getting out of Missouri and going to someplace that's a lot more fun. So
Hell yeah, come down, brother. We got
Yep.
full sport. We got football, baseball, basketball right down the street, hockey. We got fucking beaches, beautiful. We got fucking great restaurants. It's beautiful down here. You guys make sure you call me, and I'm sincere about this. I'll take you guys out for the day and we'll hang out.
man.
And bring your camera. We'll film some stuff for your podcast and shit.
Hey man, if I ever get out to Tampa, you better believe it. I'll be.
You damn sure. You make
you'll
sure
be
you
the
guys
first
log
one I
my
call.
number in and don't lose it. Don't lose it. I'm sincere. I'm really telling you to come down. If you're going to Orlando with your family, you tell your family to fuck off for a day. You're going to go see Fonzy.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. That's awesome, brother. Well, I appreciate it, and like I said, and we definitely wish you all the best. And with everything coming up, and stay healthy and stay well, and well, hopefully we see you down the road, man.
Yes, sir. I'm looking forward to it.
All right, man. We have a good night, Bill, and once again,
Thanks,
thank you.
boys.
All right.
Thanks, guys. Talk to you soon.
All right, talk to you later, man.
Good night, brother.
Good night. All right, man. GQ. We even got an invite to come down to Tampa, brother. What? Well, I mean, what do you think about that?
it's a lot better than what we'll get up here to begin with. I mean, so
Man, yeah, I mean that's hey, or if he even comes up, I mean, gosh, if he comes up to St. Louis, we'll definitely meet up for it as well. But at least, hey, I mean, great segment, great to have Bill Alfonso on here tonight. Definitely an honor, and boy, I'll tell you. I didn't know about any of those stories, but I didn't know if he wanted to get so deep into that. But my God, I mean, I guess we'll have to. It's like inquiring minds want to know. He leaves us off at the end of season 1 wanting more, and now we'll have to come back for season 2.
Yep.
But hey, yeah.
and like I like the fact that all the stuff that he was giving the advice and all the dress nice.
Oh, yeah. Dress nice. But that means also ringside, too, with keeping your shirt on whenever you're managing somebody, brother. That's a repellent. That's not an attractant. Well, man. But let's talk about upcoming. So let's talk about upcoming here. So actually, next week we will not have a show because I won't even be in the studio. I'm actually going to be taking a vacation for a week or so. But we will be coming back on July 30th for our next show. And, we are going to have, well, it's penciled in right now, and I just want to confirm the details, but it looks like we're going to have the Searcher on. Searcher, of course, is the first inductee of the Midwest Independent Wrestling Hall of Fame, and, of course, also the promoter for American Championship Wrestling. But I also want to let you guys know that American Championship Wrestling will have a show soon, but it's not going to be really much to the public, though. But at least it'll get out there, and I'm just looking forward to being part of that. And I've been invited to be part of that, and I think I will be part of that. So, what are you going to do with nothing to do next Thursday night, GQ?
Hang out with better quality of people than I do with you every Thursday. So,
gosh, man, that hurts, man. You know that really really hurts. Well,
there's a part where I did listen to where he said not to be a dick. I mean, so. And I'm looking over at you for a second, and I'm looking at you for 1 second, and I don't see where Bill Talley where he sees that. I have no idea on that.
Well, apparently I'm some type of a machine that's lime green. At least back then he was saying. I'm not going to say what it was, but oh my gosh, looking at this feed now, it feels like I'm part of the Brady Bunch opening. My God, now that I think about it. Oh,
if we ever figure out how to zoom into this, we could do something like that, which would be funny as hell.
Oh my God, yeah, that'll be hilarious. Yeah. Also, so like I said, a couple of shows I want to bring. I did talk to Shaft and Vader earlier tonight. Kind of letting them know to come in and listen. They're at Outside the Ring STL. They do a podcast every Thursday night, starting at I think 5ish or so. But Outside the Ring STL is theirs. And then with Searcher, we're going to talk about. We'll talk about ECW. We'll talk about his career, and then also. A second generation coming up from here that went down and trained, and also he's also got a podcast as well too, with the Searcher and Hide podcast, and we'll get into that too once we get him on here. And wow, so
well, hell, since I have next Thursday free, I might take a trip to Outside of the Ring. I don't know yet.
Hey, Shaft, Shaft's in, so Shaft is. Still in the room. Hey, Shaft, he might take a visit to you. And, gosh, I don't know. Have you been in that studio yet? Because I know I have.
Yeah, I was there actually with Frank Reed one time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was with...
Why do I keep looking up to you like I'm actually seeing you when I'm talking to you? I have no idea.
There you go. And what is it? There you go. Talk to the hand. Talk to the hand. You get that. Oh my gosh! So man, what a fantastic night! I couldn't have asked for anything better with Bill Alfonso. That just went. That was just a very fantastic interview. So definitely, once again, greatly appreciated, and thanks for him doing that. I know my final thoughts are, hey. You guys enjoy yourselves for a week or so. I might even come onto the feed just to see where I'm at, and I'll let you know where I'm at possibly. But make sure you enjoy yourself.
You'll get shot by me. You know that. I'm just going to say right now, you will get shot by me.
Are you
saying?
Are you gonna throw a bunch of angry face emojis at me if I go live? Where I'm gonna be at? Yeah, hit that angry emoji button. Pew 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 pew. I hate you, Ruby. Pew pew pew. Oh, I know, GQ. But don't worry, you'll get a vacation soon. You just gotta stop spending your money on women that take you for everything, and then you might take one for a while. Just saying,
Well, every time I tried to book a vacation this year and everything, it kept getting canceled and postponed.
Oh gosh, yes, yeah. Let's enlighten on that before we get out of here. About the major, the major. News for that on that convention. So
Hold on 1 second. I'm going to bring it up so I can read it exactly.
yeah, this kind of downed me here too, and it's just like I'm thinking to myself, this is horrible.
So, everybody knows I'm a part of Cauliflower Rally Club, and they had postponed the April one, which is normally when they have it, to September. But because of still the outbreak not doing well and all that, Brian Blair, of the Killer Bees fame, of course, had said this on their site. Dear CAC family, due to the C-19 pandemic and the safety of our reunion attendees, along with Nevada State C-19 protocol, we have postponed the 55th reunion, which was scheduled for September 21st through 23rd, 2020. Our 55th reunion has been rescheduled for April 25th through the 28th in 2021, with all the discount rooms and everything like that. The move has been contemplated by our hardworking, all-volunteer staff for the past several weeks. We have wanted to ensure that our deposit with the Gold Coast Hotel and Casino, Boyd Gaming, will not be jeopardized, and that has been resolved to our satisfaction with 100% of the deposit moved to the new 2021 dates. Everyone that has purchased, blah, 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 how to get refunds or move it over to that and everything like that. So, again, the same event was postponed again. So, looks like it'd just be April now, which hopefully still on that time that the honorees that were being honored this year will still be honored for that, including Herb Simmons from SICW and Madison Miles as well, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it kind of gives me time if I ever decide to get away to the convention. That would be awesome. And
this was the one that a lot of locals were going out to, besides just for her, just in general. Luke Roberts was possibly looking into going. Attila was looking at going. Other members of the Midwest Independent Wrestling Hall of Fame were looking at going and stuff like that. A lot of people were going to go out there for this year.
Yeah, I mean, a lot were going. So yeah, it's it's kind of a bummer that it's not happening, but it does give some time to kind of at least they did the smart thing. If they didn't know how bad it was going to be affected, at least they rescheduled, and it's got to go on next year, man. Because like I said, 2020 is biting the big one more than I care to know. And maybe in 2021, like I said, I'll have some maybe a chance to get up there and maybe do the convention a little bit and see the honoring, with Herb Simmons award that he's supposed to be getting, which I can't remember.
Well,
off the
like
top
I
of my
said,
head.
I've been hey, if you come out there, I can use somebody to manage. I've been trying to get on the shows out there, so.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I would love to come out there and get in the ring for them. That'd be cool.
I had to get an ugly green shirt though, but I can make a sacrifice.
Well, just think you'll look good in public for at least like 15 minutes. So just saying. You'll
you
look
mean
better.
when I take my shirt off?
No, dude. We covered this. You're not going to take your shirt off, dude. We covered this.
That should be segueing to you ending the show now. So just saying.
Oh gosh. All right. You want to get out of here, so obviously you don't have any more final thoughts. Hey, my final thought is I'm going on vacation. I'm happy. So you can't change my mind there. So, all right, guys. That is going to do it for us for this episode. So, we conclude episode 8. Episode 9 will be on 2 weeks from now, July 30th, where we tentatively will have the search on. So, for Mr. GP Match Wayne Schuyler, I am Rough Country Kirby. Thank you once again for watching and listening. And love you all for tuning in. Spread the word. Lime Time Podcast Network on Facebook and YouTube. Lime Time Network on Twitter. You guys have a good night.